Incredible goals, breakout youngsters, underperforming superstars, and amazing fan culture from across Europe. A thrilling tournament that eventually saw Spain win a historic fourth European title as they prevented football from coming home by defeating England in a tense final. But how did they get to this point, and what were the big moments throughout this year's competition? Let's take a look at how the story of Euro 2024 unfolded. Starting with the opening game of the tournament, where the host Germany gave us a glimpse of what was to come in a thoroughly entertaining set of group games. The stage was set in Munich. The Allianz Arena, the first of 10 beautiful stadiums spread across the country, ready to house a magical footballing journey over the next 30 days. All competing nations are seeded and split into 6 groups, A through F. They play each other once per group, and the top 2 teams progress, with some of the best third place finishers also going through with 4th knocked out. Each nation has 3 group games split over 3 match days, the first of which had some highly anticipated fixtures. The opener of the tournament was the host Germany facing off against Scotland. Germans lining up with some of their incredible young talent, and Scotland trying to defy the odds in the opener. But that hope was short-lived after Florian Wirtz opened the scoring of the tournament, shortly followed by the start of Musiala's fantastic campaign. Pertius saw red for a horror tackle on Gundogan, which gave Kai Havertz the chance to score another from the penalty spot. Nicholas Füllkrug came on to score his first of the tournament, and without having a shot on target, Scotland scored through the first of many own goals this tournament, this one scored by Rudiger. But Emre Can with the final nail in the coffin to make it 5-1 to Germany. A cracking start to the Euros. And with that, the group stages were officially underway. Next up was Hungary against Switzerland. Hungary the underdogs in this game, with Switzerland very experienced. And they showed that early on as Aebischer slots through a lovely through ball and Dua puts Switzerland 1-0 up, before Aebischer manages to get his own goal just before half-time. Szoboszlai with a beautiful assist crossed to the back post to Varga, who headed in to give Hungary that lifeline. But Briel Embolo, so often Switzerland's hero, comes off of the bench and scores a lovely goal to cement that victory. A great start to Switzerland's tournament. Up next were 3-time winners of the Euros, Spain facing off against Croatia. Superstars on either side, but there was some controversy in this game. Fabian Ruiz plays through Morata before scoring a lovely goal himself to put Spain 2-0 up in this game, and then just a few weeks after scoring in the UCL final, Dani Carvajal put Spain 3-0 up. But the contentious decision to not send off Rodri for this foul in the box was a big one, and Croatia got very unlucky with the penalty as there was encroachment from the rebound. The other game in Group B was up next, and this saw Italy come up against the incredible underdogs Albania. Some younger stars for Italy, and Albania a few known players, but they got off to a dream start due to a poor throw-in from DiMarco. However, Italy proved too good for them, and a corner leading to Bastoni's goal, and then a slightly fortunate goal, but a beautiful finish from Barella, and a huge save from Donnarumma meant Italy took this victory. It was just unfortunate for Albania that they found themselves in such a tough group, because they were an impressive team. Up next were the Netherlands, who went into this tournament feeling a bit underwhelming, and that is exactly how they started their first game, going 1-0 down to Poland. But Cody Gakpo, who had a fantastic tournament, opened up his goal scoring with this deflected effort before Wout Weghorst, the super sub, once again turning up to save the Netherlands in a 2-1 victory. And this takes us out of that group and into another, with Group C starting with Slovenia up against Denmark, a slightly ageing team, but some good youngsters in there as well. But one of the old guard, Christian Eriksen, did open the scoring before they conceded this strike from Janza with a slight deflection. A stalemate in the first game in Group C, which means we are up with the joint favourites for the whole competition, England, who are up against Serbia. An exciting team led by Jude Bellingham, who got the first goal of this game after a sublime season for Real Madrid. The other big chance in this game, Harry Kane got tipped onto the bar, and that was that. A relatively discreet game for a team that is favourite to win the entire tournament. Fortunately for football fans, the next game was unbelievable. Romania faced off against Ukraine in a fantastic game that saw some amazing goals. The first one by Stanciu, top corner, and then Marin putting one bottom corner, putting Romania 2-0 up, and then a third from a corner gives them an emphatic win over Ukraine. We now have 4 group games to go in the rest of matchday 1, and we go to famous underperformers Belgium, who have failed to succeed in the previous years despite having a great squad. And it looked like the same thing was going to be happening this tournament. Romelu Lukaku getting very unfortunate, and Doku giving the ball away in his own box, and they go 1-0 down to Slovakia. There were a host of other chances that Belgium had in this game, and Lukaku could not catch a break. Offside for this goal, and then this one was not offside, but there was a handball in the build-up, so Slovakia actually got the win. Now we move on to the other joint favourite, France, who come into this tournament looking incredibly strong with their amazing squad. Kylian Mbappe at the heart of it. And he was involved. They did get a goal via an own goal. However, he did have a chance later on in the game to put it to bed and somehow put it wide before going on to break his nose, which would see him out of the next match. An underwhelming performance by France, but still 3 points on the board. Next up we have Turkey against Georgia. Turkey, who were the underdogs for a lot of people in the previous Euros, come into this one and apparently they just score unbelievable goals. That was the first one from their right back. They then proceeded to just keep going at Georgia, score a second, but it was offside, and then out of nowhere, Mikhail Tadze scores one of his goals of the tournament. Fantastic. Before that, unbelievable strike by Arda Güler. Georgia 2-1 down with a minute to go, bring their keeper up for a corner, and end up losing 3-1. And with that, the final group game of matchday 1 is upon us, and it is Portugal with Cristiano Ronaldo in his 6th European Championships up against the Czech Republic, who amazingly went 1-0 up due to this thrilling goal by Provod. A slice of luck for Portugal with an own goal to equalise. However, they did get a little unlucky here. Ronaldo climbing high, rebound off the post for Jota was offside, but then another slice of luck. Pedro Neto and Conceição, the super subs, combining with a slightly fortunate goal to win 2-1. And so after some thrilling games and incredible long-range goals, that is the end of Matchday 1's group stage games. Now we move on to Matchday 2. Some really exciting fixtures were set to come in Matchday 2. And to start things off, we head over to Hamburg in Group B, where Croatia are set to face off against Albania. Both teams desperate for a win after their opening games, and this is how it happened. Laci managing to get Albania 1-0 up in this game. The underdog story was on until late on, where Andrej Kramaric scored a great goal, and then some bad luck for Albania as Jasila scores an own goal, but he goes from 0 to hero and managed to get a last gasp equaliser to clutch a draw. Following on from that great game, we had the return of the hosts Germany in Group A up against Hungary, where they were aiming to get that second win in a row and get themselves out of the group. Musiala got them off to a great start, but Hungary put on a lot of pressure, a great save from Neuer, and then they scored an offside rebound goal, unfortunately for them. And to make matters worse, Gundogan put in a second with half an hour to go, and that is how the game finished. So Germany were looking absolutely fantastic, whereas Scotland, who got demolished by them in the first game, needed a bounce back against Switzerland. And they started really well. Scott McTominay with a deflected effort finding the back of the net, but Xherdan Shaqiri stepped up with one of the goals of the tournament in order to equalise. And then it was a battle end-to-end throughout the remainder of this game. Big chances at either end, as you can see. Incredible stuff. Some disallowed goals. One here for offside, and then another one here. Somehow does not go over the line, and it finishes 1-1. Now we see ourselves over to the first game in Group C for Matchday 2, where Slovenia face off against Serbia. A very open and end-to-end game with lots of wasted chances, but Slovenia did find themselves going 1-0 up. This was a great cross in, and at the back post, a good finish. And then a 95th minute equaliser by Jovic to clutch a draw. And that takes us to the other side of Group C, where England, after their opening win, needed to try and continue that streak against Denmark. A very tough team to break down, but Kyle Walker and Harry Kane did combine early on in order to take that lead. But a lovely strike to equalise beats Jordan Pickford from range. There were a couple of other chances in this game, mainly for England, but they were disappointing in front of goal, and this effort from Phil Foden was the best of the bunch, and some big saves by Kasper Schmeichel meant it stayed 1-1. So away from Group C and back to Group B, where one of the biggest matchups of Matchday 2 was Spain versus Italy. And this was a hotly contested game, Spain looking fantastic, having an absolute abundance of chances in this game, but either Donnarumma was too good or they were missing the target. However, they did get their breakthrough due to an unfortunate own goal for Calafiori, one of Italy's best performers this tournament. And without him and Donnarumma, it could have been 4 or 5 in this game. Spain had so many chances, but they just only kept it to 1-0. So like Germany, Spain get 2 wins out of 2 to start off Euro 2024. Next up we have Slovakia up against Ukraine in a very tight game, which saw Slovakia take the lead early on with an okay header. However, Ukraine did get one straight back after the start of the second half in the 54th minute, and then Yaremchuk with a fantastic touch and finish past the goalie to take the win for Ukraine, which they desperately needed after that 3-0 loss to Romania on match day 1. We then see Poland taking on Austria in a very, very good game, which showcased how good Austria actually have been in this tournament. Some okay goals in this one, Piatek getting a little bit lucky, but Baumgartner with a strike into the bottom corner to make it 2-1, and Austria managed to get themselves a penalty through Sabitzer, which is cleanly put away by Arnautovic for a good, big victory that was desperately needed for them. And this was followed up by one of the biggest ties in matchday 2, the Netherlands against France, battling it out for the top of the group. A humongous game which basically just saw a lot of chances missed from both sides, and then a bit of controversy, as Xavi Simons thought that he had scored with this lovely strike, but it was deemed offside on Dumfries. So the game did actually end up finishing 0-0. Disappointment for France still not scoring from open play. Next up we saw Georgia against Czechia. Georgia, very, very impressive, and they come into this game hoping that they can nick something against the Czech Republic, who have a goal ruled out for offside to kick things off, and then concede a slightly harsh handball penalty. Mikhail Tadze scores again for Georgia, but Patrick Schick does come up with a huge goal, and Georgia, with the last kick of the game, fail to take that and take the 3 points. Really disappointing for them, but still a great result if you take everything into account. Turkey up against Portugal was one of the more dominant games that we saw in matchday 2. Portugal taking full control of this game, and a horror moment from Akadin as he puts the ball into his own net, thinking the goalkeeper's there, but making a big mistake. And Ronaldo squaring for Bruno Fernandes to bring home a victory. The final group game in matchday 2 was Belgium up against Romania. Belgium desperately needing some luck after how unfortunate Lukaku was in the first game, and he gets an assist early on for Tielemans, but then once again gets some bad luck with an offside goal before Kevin De Bruyne with a lovely finish gets Belgium that win, and that is how matchday 2 concluded. The final group stage matches are make or break for so many teams. That last chance to get points and get through to the round of 16. In the Euros, the final games are played at the same time in each group. So Switzerland versus Germany and Scotland versus Hungary would kick off at the same time to avoid any instances of playing for draws on purpose and fixing results. Germany, coming into this game looking very strong in their first 2, found themselves 1 goal down, and potentially 2, after a Musiala foul in the build-up ruled out Andrich's goal, and Doi managed to score, and then Fulkrug, the super sub, once again clutched up to get that final point for the Germans. On the other side of the group, Scotland faced off against Hungary, desperate to get a win in order to try and keep their tournament alive. There were a lot of chances for both teams in this game, and a horror injury for one of the Hungarian players, who fortunately fully recovered following the incident. Scotland felt that they should have had a penalty in this game, and then a last-ditch effort at the far end meant that Hungary could break clear and manage a counter-attack goal in the 100th minute, which meant Germany topped the group, Switzerland finished second, and Scotland crash out of the Euros. So with Group A complete, we are now over to Group B. Albania would face off against Spain, whilst Croatia would face Italy in the other game. Ferran Torres got Spain off to an incredible start, despite fielding a much weakened team as they knew they were already through to the next round. Spain looked incredibly strong, creating lots of chances for themselves. They did face a few from Albania, but thoroughly deserved win in this game. And it saw them go through to the next round on 9 points. Incredible stuff from them. On the other side of the draw, we had Croatia against Italy in a must-win game that was huge for both teams. And another Italy performance, another incredible Donnarumma showing. Stopping a few efforts, including a penalty from Luka Modric and a fantastic save. Unfortunately for him, Modric was on the end to make up for the penalty miss, but a last gasp equaliser from Zakagni meant that Spain went through top of the group and Italy went through second, with Croatia amassing a poor 2 points in this tournament. Group D were up next, with the Netherlands up against Austria and France facing off against Poland in two huge matches. This was one of the matches of the entire tournament. End-to-end goals for both teams, some nice goals as well, and just high-level entertainment, which eventually saw Sabitzer come up with a huge moment to take the win for Austria in a very, very impressive group stage for them. The expectation for this group was that France would comfortably top it, get 9 points and move on to the next round, most likely with the Netherlands coming second. But France just couldn't score in this tournament. No open play goals, they got another penalty which Mbappe did dispatch before conceding a penalty, which Lewandowski stepped up, facing off against Maignan, saved, but Maignan was off of his line because of Lewandowski's very, very stuttery run-up. He got a second opportunity and managed to score that one, which means France came second and Austria actually topped Group D. The Netherlands were put into third place and Poland went out. A huge shock on that side of the draw, which meant that France moved across to the side with Spain, Germany, and everyone tough. England's group was up next. They were also joint favourites with France, but had also underperformed, and in this game they did exactly the same thing. 0-0 against Slovenia, and they were very fortunate because Denmark faced off against Serbia in the other game in Group C, and this one also finished 0-0. It just felt like in this group, nobody could actually take their chances. It was a very low goal total for Group C and an incredibly low points total, which saw not much happen, especially in comparison to the other exciting groups. England finished top on 5 points and Denmark came through second to get themselves into the round of 16. Now we move to Group E, which was probably the hardest group of all of them to call once it got to this stage of the tournament. Slovakia up against Romania in the first of the two games, which saw Duda putting them 1-0 up, and a penalty once again being a deciding factor in one of these late group games meant that it finished 1-1, and those teams both finished on 4 points. We also saw Ukraine face off against Belgium in another game where Romelu Lukaku struggled to find the back of the net. He just did not have a good tournament. There were a few chances for both teams, but this one also finished in a draw, which meant everyone finished on 4 points. Romania went through, Belgium went through, and Ukraine one of the only teams ever to go out on 4 points. And the two final group games were in Group F. Georgia against Portugal started off this game completely unbelievable scenes. Kvaratskhelia, a star in this tournament, putting them 1-0 up against a very strong Portugal side with an underperforming Cristiano Ronaldo. Mikel Tadze scored again with yet another penalty in a group stage game match day 3, and it meant that Georgia got the win to put them through to the next round. Czechia against Turkey got a red card very early on, which did not bode well for them because Çalhanoğlu at the start of the second half with a fantastic strike, one of the most unique goals of the tournament, put Turkey 1-0 up. Czechia did manage to get a goal back, but their hearts were broken with Cenk Tosun managing a last gasp goal, and then a second red card for the Czech Republic saw Portugal and Turkey go through, with Georgia one of the best ranked teams in third place. So the round of 16 fixtures were set, some incredibly big ties and a tough side to the draw. This is how it unfolded. Knockout football is when these tournaments get to crunch time. You see a lot more defensive play, a lot more caginess in games. However, that cannot be said for Switzerland, who throughout this tournament have been very impressive against an Italian team that have been reliant on Donnarumma, as they were once again in this game, to stay in the competition this long. Switzerland do end up taking the lead and then getting a second for their troubles, as they thoroughly deserve to beat Italy and knock out the reigning champions of the Euros and progress through to the quarter-finals. They will now face off against the England-Slovakia winners. But first, it's Germany up against Denmark. An incredibly uniquely entertaining game. Germany thought they'd gone 1-0 up through Schlotterbeck, but Kimmich wiped out a player and it was disallowed. The game was unprecedentedly stopped due to thunder and lightning, and it was a spectacle to behold. It was thrilling to watch. But so were Denmark. Straight after the return, they thought they'd gone 1-0 up, but they were offside by a toe. Anderson having his goal disallowed and then conceding a penalty himself a few minutes later for Havertz to convert before another lovely chance for Kai, but he just messes it up at the last second and puts it wide. Luckily for Germany, Musiala wrapped things up to send them through and win 2-0. Now time for Switzerland to find out who they will face in the quarter-finals. England are against Slovakia in this next round of 16 game, and Slovakia causing an upset to start things off. They go 1-0 up against an England team that is at 6s and 7s at the back. Phil Foden did believe that he'd scored an equaliser, but he had strayed offside, and the summary of England's defence was shown when Slovakia nearly went 2-0 up due to the defence switching off, before Declan Rice hit the post, and then the main man for England does it again. Jude Bellingham with a huge individual moment, taking the game to extra time where England came out firing and went 2-1 up within a minute of extra time beginning. Slovakia couldn't quite take their remaining chances, and England go through to face Switzerland. Germany are awaiting their opponents in the quarterfinals, and it was time for Spain to face off against the incredibly exciting Georgia team. And they showed that attacking intent once again, going 1-0 up against this incredible Spain team through a Lenormand own goal. However, it didn't last too long. Rodri managed to get a goal before an incredible effort from Kvaratskhelia nearly put Georgia 2-1 up. But in the second half, that was pretty much it for Georgia. Spain turned it on, went into fifth gear, and proceeded to score 3 more goals and win the game 4-1 relatively comfortably. Setting up a quarter-final with Germany. Arguably the biggest tie of this round was France facing off against Belgium. France, who have disappointed throughout the tournament, not scoring from open play, and Belgium, who could not take their chances in most of their games. There were a lot of opportunities in this game for both teams, more so for France, but neither team could find the back of the net. So many shots going over and wide, a great effort from Kevin De Bruyne with a big save from Magnan, and France get lucky again with another deflected goal. Goes down as a Vertonghen own goal to send them through. And now we find ourselves watching Portugal up against Slovenia. A fixture which drew much criticism to one of the greatest players we've ever seen, Cristiano Ronaldo, could not score in this tournament. He was wasting so many chances. Even when Portugal got this game into extra time and got themselves a penalty, it was saved by Jan Oblak for Ronaldo. Sesko had an incredible chance after Pepe gave it away to win it in the last minute, but failed to do so, and Diogo Costa, who saved that opportunity, went big in the penalty shootout and saved not one, not two, but three to take Portugal through to the quarter-finals. The penultimate game in the round of 16 saw Romania face the Netherlands in one of the most one-sided games of this tournament. The Netherlands were just too much for Romania. Cody Gakpo continuing his fine tournament form, scoring an early goal to put the Netherlands 1-0 up before having a second ruled out to being offside. He also did incredibly well to get them 2-0 up, assisting Daniel Marlon, who also scored the final goal to make it a 3-0 easy victory for the Netherlands, putting them through to the next round. And the final two teams battling for a place in the quarterfinals is Austria and Turkey. A very, very close game, this one. Demiral, the centre-back, putting Turkey 1-0 up within the first minute was an incredible sign of things to come in this game. Chances at both ends, including some great goalkeeper saves, but Demiral got a second goal for Turkey before Gregoric managed to score 3 goals from corners in this game, and the final piece of action was one of the best saves of the entire tournament. But Turkey held on to win 2-1, and the final 8 were set. The left-hand side of the draw considerably harder, with Spain facing Germany and Portugal against France, whereas England faced Switzerland and the Netherlands were up against Turkey. Getting ever closer to the final saw us in the quarters. 4 amazing ties, ready to feast the eyes. As Spain faced Germany, the favourites after the group stage against the host of the tournament. And what an event-filled start to the quarterfinals it was. Spain and Germany both looking fantastic, creating lots of opportunities in this game, with Dani Olmo taking the first and putting it in the back of the net. Germany trying to fight back, hit the post. Havertz puts it over the bar with a really good opportunity before Wirtz manages a last-gasp equaliser, just like he's been doing for Leverkusen all season. Germany felt very aggrieved that they didn't get this penalty for a handball by Cucurella before Mikel Merino clutches up in the last minute in order to give Spain a 2-1 victory over Germany, despite them having a last few couple of chances, and Dani Carvajal purposefully getting sent off just to secure that win. An incredibly high-quality quarter-final, followed by one that wasn't quite as such. Portugal and France have both underperformed in this tournament, and they did continue in this game facing off against each other. Their finishing in front of goal just not quite good enough. Credit to Mike Maignan, because without him, France would be nowhere near this stage of the competition, but also, if they could finish their chances, they would have won this game comfortably, especially Camavinga's chance right there. Fantastic. But the game did go to penalties. Ronaldo controversially stopping in his run-up, but João Felix hitting the post, missing his penalty and allowing Theo Hernandez to take the victory for France and take them through to the next round. And playing after them was England, coming up against Switzerland in a very tense game that saw chances few and far between. There wasn't too much, it was a very defensive-minded game, but Embolo being the hero for Switzerland, it looked like was going to be the case until Bukayo Saka came up with a very, very impressive equaliser. Heading into extra time, Xherdan Shaqiri nearly scored directly from a corner, and we went all the way through to penalties, which saw Akanji have Switzerland's first penalty saved, and England scoring all 5 to see themselves through to the semi-finals, where they will face the winner of Netherlands against Turkey. Turkey, really impressive outfit in this tournament. Netherlands underperforming in front of goal for some players like Memphis Depay, but Cody Gakpo has been fantastic. Akadin, however, put Turkey 1-0 up in this game before Stevan de Vrij was the man that ended up getting the equaliser after a few missed chances for both teams. And once again, we saw Gakpo involved, causing a Mulder own goal to put Netherlands 2-1 up. A last gasp huge save means that they see themselves alongside England, France and Spain in the semi-finals of Euro 2024. Only a few games remain. The stage was set for two incredible semi-finals, the first of which saw Spain, who had been the most impressive team throughout this tournament, matched up against pre-tournament joint favourites France. And France started things off in this game by scoring their first open play goal of the tournament, Kylian Mbappe assisting Kolo Muani, but Spain showed how good they are and how impressive their young players are. Lamine Yamal, 16 years of age at this point in time, scoring an unbelievable goal before Dani Olmo followed suit to put Spain 2-1 up. France did have a few more chances in the remainder of this game, but Spain did dominate for the most part, and they did end up taking the victory 2-1, which puts them into the final of Euro 2024. And they will be joined by either the Netherlands or England, who are facing off in the other side of the draw. Netherlands getting off to a fantastic start in this game. Xavi Simons stealing the ball off of Declan Rice and pile driving it past Jordan Pickford to get things underway. Then followed by a hugely controversial penalty decision. Harry Kane gets his shot away, but he is touched and does receive the penalty, which he then dispatches phenomenally into the bottom hand corner. Phil Foden is denied by Denzel Dumfries, who had an amazing game. He also hit the bar with a header later on in the match. Phil Foden also seeing one of his incredible efforts strike the woodwork, coming out off of the post. England scored a late goal, however it was ruled out for offside before Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins as super subs combined to score a wonderful goal to put England into the final of Euro 2024. And so another thrilling international tournament comes to its conclusion. We had amazing group games, some incredible long-range strikes, some big moments and underperforming stars, and it has all led to this. Spain versus England. Football either coming home or Spain winning their 4th Euros, which would be record-breaking. Which set of young players was going to be able to bring this trophy home to their country? That was the big question. The stage was set in Berlin, the trophy was out, the incredible fan culture continued all the way until the very last minute of this tournament. The first big chance of the final came to England before Nico Williams slotted home in order to put Spain 1-0 up in the game. They proceeded to have a lot of chances in this game. Morata, Williams, Fabian, all having efforts at goal, but not quite finding the back of the net. England were trying their best though, and despite all of the Spanish pressure, especially from the wingers, Jude Bellingham had a great chance to try and equalise, and then Cole Palmer once again comes up with a huge moment for England as he slots the ball from the edge of the box home to make it 1-1. And with the clock ticking down, Spain had all of the pressure until the 86th minute, where a Yarzabal from a Marc Cucurella cross put in the winning goal of the Euros. Despite a last-minute goalmouth scramble for England, it wasn't enough, and Spain lifted the trophy. A thoroughly deserved win of the tournament. They were comfortably the best team, and even though they didn't enter the tournament as favourites, especially behind France and England, they showed by the end of the group games that they meant business. And these two players were big reasons why. Lamine Yamal getting the Young Player of the Tournament accolade, followed by Rodri winning the main player of the tournament. They also could have had other nominees for both of these awards. They were that good. We come to the team of the tournament to end things off. Mike Maignan in goal, Kyle Walker debatably in at right back, Akanji and Saliba with solid tournaments, Marc Cucurella proving the doubters wrong, a full Spanish midfield of Rodri, Dani Olmo and Fabian Ruiz, and a forward line consisting of 3 up-and-coming superstars, Jamal Musiala, Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams. And so through all the twists and turns, Spain are victorious, and that is the story of Euro 2024.